What's up, YouTube? Flashwing here. It is another beautiful day in paradise out here in sunny Arizona. Normally I would tell you that we're in Phoenix, but today we're not in Phoenix. We are in Globe. And then strangely enough, we'll be passing right through Miami. But trust me, when Will Smith said, "Welcome to Miami," that was definitely not Miami, Arizona. Out on the R1 today, riding with a couple of friends. There's 4 of us total. Temperature is a little bit more cooperative today. Unlike a lot of you poor saps out there, out in New England, or up in Canada. It's about 57 degrees Fahrenheit, which is probably about degrees in Celsius. So let's see, a couple of things to talk about. I wanted to respond to a topic that Notorious Bunny posted about a couple of days ago. She went and visited a grave site of a fellow motorcycler that was killed. And if you have not seen that video, I will link it right here. But I wanted to talk about a specific aspect of riding, because she was mentioning that a friend of hers kind of reacted negatively to the whole, the sticker that says, look twice for bikes, and how her friend ultimately felt like she had to do something special. Why did she have to change the way she drives her motorcycles and all that stuff? I'm not an expert. This is just my philosophy, so take it or leave it. One of the most important things you can do riding your bike is to be predictable. And this goes beyond, the aspects of riding your own pace and all this stuff. I'm just talking about surviving in city traffic or on normal roads where you're not having a good time. Being predictable is very important. You have to kind of view our fellow cagers as sort of like barnyard animals, not so much in stupidity, but just in the fact that they can get spooked pretty easily. When they're looking for other cars, they're not looking for motorcycles, and it's all about that mental mapping. For the same reason that you can lose your car keys or your bike keys, and they'll be right in front of you the whole time. It's because you have an expectation on what you're going to see. And you don't expect to see your keys in front of you, because, let's face facts, if they were in front of you, you would see them. But we do have a little bit of mind over matter when it comes to the things that we see with our eyes. And if you're driving a car and you're looking for something that looks like a car, you're not going to see a bike. You may not even see a pedestrian either. So with that said, being predictable is very important. And what I mean by that is, put yourself where cars expect you to be, ride in a manner that people expect you to ride. An example of unpredictability, weaving through traffic in and out at 100 miles per hour. No car, especially in heavy traffic, expects a vehicle occupied by anybody to be doing that amount of speed in their space. I mean, they're riding, they're driving, that's their space. They expect that space to be not so much respected, but at least not invaded. Whether that's their right or not is a completely different discussion, but that's what they expect. And you have to accept the risk that the more unpredictable you are, the more danger there is to you. Now, there's always going to be a certain area of unpredictability. Like lane positioning, things like that, coming up to intersections, making sure you're visible to the oncoming cars that are turning left. I mean, that's one of the most dangerous parts of riding a bike is intersections with cars turning left in front of you. So, just simply put, it's about being predictable, and you have to find your own ways to do that. The best example that I can give you for myself, one aspect of predictability is riding in the HOV lane, or the high occupancy vehicle lane. That's we have here in Arizona. I'm sure other states have got it. Oh, yay, we get to pass. The HOV lane, you're inclined to ride on the left side away from all the traffic. Oh, look at this guy. Jesus. But in my opinion, the safer place to ride is actually on the right side of the lane, where people can see you. Because everybody's got their mirrors adjusted improperly. And so all of their side mirrors stare at the side of their car. Alright, so this is the chance for me to demonstrate the predictability in the HOV lane that I was talking about earlier. So the danger in the HOV lane is it moves while everybody else stays still. And you have the people who are late. They always want to cut in. So you're always looking for gaps in traffic, because that's where people like to slide in and move over quickly. And so I'll do a little swervy action to kind of make myself a moving target. But when you get in a situation like this with a van, usually if you have a car in front of you, you're okay in the sense that people are going to see the car before they see you. But you want to stay to the right, because otherwise people are going to try and duck in at the last second. They're going to think that car is the last in the line. And so if you're all the way over to the left, they're not going to see you. But this is a really dangerous place to be, because if someone does pull out in front of me, I've got very little time to react. Whereas if I'm over on the left side, I could just go onto the shoulder. Just my opinion. Those are some of the things that I've learned on my own. I try to employ them in my own riding. Riding the canyon, you know, riding by yourself, all those things, the situations are very different. And that kind of left me the last point that Notorious Bunny's friend really doesn't realize, is that you have to adjust your driving or your riding all the time. There's all sorts of special circumstances. You have to ride differently in the rain than you do during the day, than you do at night, than you do when it's cold, when it's warm, when there's snow on the ground. You have to do all that stuff. All of those are special circumstances. So to complain that you have to adjust your driving, if you're not adjusting your driving, you're doing something very wrong. We might get a little bit of playtime here. This is a beautiful road. I've actually never been on this road. I think I was once a long time ago when my good friends moved out here. Part of the reason why I wanted to vlog is that you guys get a chance to see some pretty awesome scenery, and I get to gloat a little bit that I'm actually able to ride, whereas unfortunately some of you guys are snowed in. All right, here we go. But I'm getting used to it. It's a safety device in its current form. I know the laws of physics, the whole, you know, sound waves travel better behind you than in front of you, but you're still going to hear me coming. That's what she said. Let's talk about the crash. I know that's probably kind of taboo to do right now, right? So, if you haven't seen the crash video, I'm sure you know where to find it. If you haven't seen it, you probably, and you're on this channel, you must have missed something. So, lots of things were happening in that. I kind of briefly explained it in the video as best I could. It started with a friend of mine going offline. Not his fault. He was trying to avoid gravel in the road. And instead of actually following my own line, I instinctively followed him. And in the process, moving off line with my speed and my trajectory, it put me in a really dangerous spot. And then once I didn't panic, but obviously I froze. And it basically caused me to fixate on the side of the road. And it was the stupidest thing in the sense that I don't know what I was expecting to happen. I was expecting the bike to turn itself. It should have just leaned the bitch over. But I didn't, and I laid it down. So, the bike crashed, and it slid through the dirt, and there was a dirt mound on the far side of the road. And the front end of the cowl hit that dirt mound, and that's what broke the front cowl. Most of the damage was cosmetic. Unfortunately, even cosmetic stuff on an R1 is expensive. So, what resulted after the crash, I tumbled and rolled. And the first thing I noticed was I was really short on breath. Got the wind knocked out of me. You have to excuse me, my voice is sounding a little hoarse. I don't know if I'm having to scream too much. The helmet is just squeezing the shit out of the sides of my cheeks. Brand new helmet, still gotta break it in. So at first, you know, I did kind of a self-assessment. I realized I was okay in the sense that all my limbs were still attached. I didn't break anything. Wasn't bleeding anywhere. And my friends did stop. I know the video doesn't really look like anybody stopped to help me. A couple of the friends that were on this ride today were there when I crashed. So the most immediate thing, so we got the bike back up, started doing some checks. At first we thought we may have cracked the radiator, but realized that the overflow tank had just spilled over a little bit. But the master cylinder worked itself loose for the front brake, and I was leaking brake fluid. So I had no front brake. And obviously, middle of nowhere, I was about an hour and a half away from Phoenix. That was a serious problem. So we started the bike still ran, still sounded good. So I decided I was going to ride it. Hurt like hell though. My hip hurt, lots of shooting pain in my hip. My right shoulder hurt, same thing, shooting pain. Felt muscle, but I fractured my ankle when I was a freshman in high school, and I didn't know that I fractured it. I thought it was a bad sprain. So I've had problems before not understanding what my body was trying to tell me, so I was concerned that I broke something, and I just didn't know it because of the adrenaline. We were out in the middle of nowhere, and I got stuck, you know, my stubbornness kicked in, and I'm like, nope, I'm riding this bike home. So I limped it up to a gas station nearby, up to a Chevron. And with the help of some friends I was riding with, we got the master cylinder tightened up, bled the front brakes, and everything was good. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Don't try that at home, kids. We got around that when we did. Man, look at that. So with the front brakes fixed, I set off for Phoenix. I knew I wasn't going to be able, I knew I was going to go to the hospital. I wanted to ride to the hospital and get those extra style points. And I was afraid that if I came off the adrenaline, I was going to start to hurt more and more. I was starting to deteriorate as it was. So I rode myself a little over 100 miles straight home. Got in the car, got out of my gear, got in the car, drove to the ER, checked myself in, and strangely enough, the nurses and doctors kept getting confused about what exactly happened. I told them I was in a motorcycle crash, and I was doing about 40 miles an hour when I went down. That's what I think anyway. They kept asking me if I fell over in a parking lot. Like, were you in a parking lot when you crashed? I was like, no, I was on the road. So, kind of had a laugh at the fact that I was in such good shape. That they thought that I fell over in a parking lot. Must have figured that I was inflating my story to make myself look better. Yeah, riding the canes and talking, not really a great thing. So once I got out of the ER, first couple of days it hurt pretty bad. I did have 1 or 2 days where getting out of bed was incredibly difficult, to the point where I wasn't really even sure I could do it. But just took it easy and doing much better. Shoulder's almost 100%. Probably gonna hurt for a little while longer. We're kind of bunching up here a little bit. Man, look at this place. It's even better going down. That's what she said. I know. These jokes just write themselves. Ooh, yeah, the tunnel. Love me some tunnel action. Into the tunnel of love. Yeah. So everybody, hope everybody is going to have themselves a great week and a great weekend. Like I said, I'm going to be moving next week. Limited opportunity for doing vlogs. So I'll get back to you guys, worst case scenario, in a couple of weeks, but I imagine it'll be less than that. Got some family coming into town too, so I'm going to be busy. But thanks again for everybody who's recently subscribed, and there's plenty of other content and stuff on here to keep you busy for a little while. So we'll see you next time. Flashwing out.